Coach, you guys bring in John Ludwig and move on from Brandstrom. I guess not to harp on it too much, but was it from Brandstrom that you guys just didn't quite see what you were looking for?
I think just different element from Ludwig. You know, I think we have, if you look at our decor and their abilities and what they were able to do through training camp and exhibition, we've got some skater, puck mover type guys, and you know, had an abundance of them. And now you get another rugged guy that has some toughness and some sturdiness to his game. And I don't know the player real well. Like, I haven't watched a lot of them, but yeah, then you're able to pick up a fourth and also get some flexibility with the cap too. So a bunch of different elements go into that.
The other day you talked about wanting more from the forward group fighting for open spots.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the group that you have now here?
Yeah, and I also said that at 3 spots and you only need 3, right? So I would have loved to see more from more guys. But the guys we got here, I think, have done a really nice job. So I feel pretty good about it. I think Ivan's done a heck of a job. Kovalenko's done a heck of a job. Richie's really kind of coming into his own, a little bit lighter load on the wing. So still a work in progress, but I think that we're in a good spot to start.
Seems like you guys have 12 healthy forwards. It doesn't, I obviously can't say, but it looks like that might be the starting roster. Is this a sign that Lehkonen is closer than we may have thought?
No. He has a 5-month check-in at the end of the month, and then we'll get word on how he can advance from there.
So do you envision carrying 12 forwards to start the year, or will that change?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I think we have flexibility, right? Like, everyone's cleared waivers or been assigned, so we have the whole Eagles roster we can pull from at any time.
The day before free agency started, if we filled out a projected roster, Sam Walensky was your 6th defenseman probably, because you only had like 600 contracts. Then you signed a bunch of guys, and it became a competition. What did Sam do to kind of quote unquote?
Played great, used his skating, puck moving ability, was able to contribute offensively, was solid on the defensive side of it. He had his moments, you know, like everybody else, but I think his overall consistency through training camp has been great. I mean, I would have said coming into this that he had a good chance to be in our starting lineup from regardless of who we brought in, just based on what he did for us last year.
And then I guess the other one is, what did Yvonne do? There were other, like, more veteran, you know, fourth-line candidates, right? Like, what did he do over the sports camp to sort of win that spot?
I'm saying almost the exact same thing. If you look at it, like, he's solid defensive player, good 200-foot game. I like his skating and his ability to skate and play and hang on to the puck. And then he made plays. I mean, he would have minimum 2 goals, had another breakaway or 2 mixed in there, made a great play on the power play. You know, to Wood for an empty net tap in on 5-on-3. I mean, it was noticeable. He was contributing on both sides of the puck all through training camp and was really consistent. It's been great growth in his game. Really liked him last year in training camp. And like I said, regardless of where you were drafted, how you got here, what your age was, how many years you've been with us or the Eagles, really has nothing to do with it. At the end of the day, I said the players will ultimately make the decision on who stays, and he had a great camp, so he's still here.
As you're on the doorstep of the regular season, what fires you up the most about your team?
Well, I mean, there's always, every training camp, there's a certain level of excitement and optimism with your team. And we know it's a long year and there's going to be lots of challenges, but I think that the returning group that we have coming back, I like the fact that we've infused some new blood into the lineup, both young, developed guys, or guys that we're continuing to develop, and like, say, Richie, Ivan, Kovalenko, and then some new guys coming in that were pretty good in their roles on other teams. So it's a nice mix. Like, there's been some turnover here again, and we'll see how it all gels together. But I like the fact that, you know, we've got some new blood in here and they're hungry to be a part of what we've kind of built over the last number of years, and hopefully get back to where we want to go now with the new group that's excited to get working together. You know, like, there's going to be we still have to gel as a team and go through some of the battles to get to where we want to go, even early in the season. But I think they've had a good camp. Last 2 games we played have been pretty good with the veteran lineup against other veteran teams. So we'll find our rhythm here and hopefully carve out some points here early this week.
Coach, you mentioned Cal coming into his own a little bit. How much, he was dancing out there today, how much have you seen his confidence grow even just over the last 2 weeks?
I think he's a confident player regardless, like even just coming in. I think that he understands the skill set that he has. Sometimes probably even just a little bit too confident. It's like the decision-making part of it, for me, is an area that he needs to improve. He has the ability to make plays all over the ice, and I want to give him the freedom to do that, just like I would any other top 6 skilled player, right? But decision-making, if it's 1-on-3, you're running out of room, trying to make something out of nothing, playing for possession at the ozone blue lines, making smart decisions to get pucks deep, while still making plays when he has the opportunity. So, he was probably able to make a lot of plays in a lot of uncomfortable situations in junior, but guys here are just closing down the space quicker. They got better sticks, better ability to knock down pucks. So he'll get used to it. I think that's something that he can learn quickly as an intelligent playmaking guy.
What's the short-term goal for the team opening the season, especially considering that you've just added another player in the league?
Yeah, well, we'll take our time probably with John. Like we have 8D here that have been through training camp to get him up to speed, get him some practice time. We got to be confident in what he's doing before I put him in the lineup. And everyone else has been here, so I don't think it's any different than any other year. I do think that the amount of turnover and where we have guys playing in key situations that we'll be coaching a lot early here to make sure that the team's mindset and the way we're thinking about our game and trying to carve out an identity for this team, everyone gets on the same page as quick as possible. But we expect to win. Regardless of who we're playing against now. I think we've learned some things over exhibition, especially the last 2 games, and where we got to get to. Obviously, our offense has to start taking a step here now. We've been concentrating a lot on the defensive details of it, but we got to get harder in some areas here going into regular season, and I expect our guys will do that.
2 rookies on one line. I know those guys, you obviously earned some trust over preseason, but how much confidence do you have in Casey to be able to, obviously you have a lot to handle in that situation?
Yeah, well, it's all dependent on those guys' play, right? Like Kovalenko for me has been really good. He had the one bad game, the first exhibition game. His practices have been consistent. He's making all the right decisions and continues to make plays and continues to challenge other teams' defenders with his feet and hanging on to pucks. And so I'm confident in what he can do, and Richie's still growing. But I do think that that's probably the 2 best guys to be able to go in, play a solid defensive game, and yet produce offense with Casey. And we still have flexibility there. Like we had Colton on the wing in one game, and he was really good there. We have Ivan who can slide into the middle of the ice with Kelly if we want to move Colton up. So we have some flexibility to move around our lineup game to game, and actually even within the game. It's pretty relatively easy switch. All right, thank you.